out relentless effort for 60 minutes. Dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3, dominate.
Honey, where are you going?
Where are you going?
Again? Just where are you going?
Where are you going? You're not going to the bar again, are you?
You like hanging out, drinking beer at the bar, talking sports? Come on out and join us weekly. Guys at the Bar Talking Sports, your podcast for just that. Hanging out, drinking some beer, talking sports.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Ray, your boy, hanging out with the guys from Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. Thank y'all for joining us for another week, looking at college football, the things that were going on over the last several days in college football. Lots and lots and lots of news that's come out. Even the Heisman finalists have come out today at 6 o'clock, so we got a lot. It's a special edition. We're doing it on a Monday rather than a Tuesday, so I think that y'all are going to enjoy what we got for you today. We're going to be talking about the playoff seeding, what everyone thinks about that. We're going to be talking about the Heisman candidates. We're also going to talk about those 6 conference championship games that we had last week. And, you know, another big game this week is the Army-Navy game. We talk about it every single year on this show. And I know that my man Chief is just the biggest fan of that game. Aren't you, Chief?
No.
You are the biggest fan of that. But you're an Air Force guy.
Air Force guy.
That's right. Ah, man, you always.
We get the Army and the Navy where they need to go.
Yeah, and that's true. That's a good point. So we got the Army-Navy coming up this weekend as well, and then I want to talk about some of these bowl matchups that are coming up as well because that they announced. There's some good bowl games. Obviously, the playoffs is the biggest bowl games, but there's some other pretty good bowl games out there. But I didn't see a lot of matchups that I was just like, man, I would love to see that matchup. I know you all feel the same way. So we're going to talk about that on the show as well today. And then you probably noticed that we have an amazing sound going on here as well. And that is because of your help bringing us the funds we need to purchase the equipment that we got. And thank you very much for sending us beer money at Guys at the Bar Talking Sports on Venmo. We appreciate that. If you want to follow us on the show as well, you can do that. We are on Facebook through Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. If you look that up, we got a Facebook group and a Facebook page, so you should like that. And we do have the best Facebook group in the country, in my opinion, or best
world.
The best sports Facebook group in the world. Yeah, I mean, it definitely is. I'm on a lot of Facebook groups for sports, and there's some crappy ones out there, then there's some great ones, and we are the best. So let's go ahead and jump into this. We got my man Chief here. You heard him saying it, wearing your Clemson shirt today. Excited that your boys got into the playoffs.
Absolutely excited they got into the playoffs, and we should celebrate while we can.
We got my man, the Mountain Mama, here today, too, with your coaster that says Mountaineers on it, huh?
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot for that. That's really cool. I like it. It's a shame not everybody else has the same one I've got, but I guess you guys can live with North Carolina, Florida, and Auburn, is it?
Yeah, how do you feel about the West Virginia getting into a bowl game as well?
Well, I mean, they have 300 bowl games, so somebody has to get in.
Okay.
And I do like the fact that they went ahead and got selected for like the third one out of the gate.
Yep.
They play Memphis. If you're a betting person, I would take Memphis right now.
Okay, yeah, I mean
we're in transition of a coach right now. I know most of the seniors are going to play, which is good, but I don't know. I mean, you know how that stuff goes. We don't have anybody sitting out yet. We'll see. If
you're a betting person, you could also join the Guys at the Bar pool. We got the Guys at the Bar Bowl Mania pool, $15 to get your first entry and $15 for each additional entry. I'm allowing 3 entries per person. I actually pulled one of mine because I think that's too many, but I do have one person that has 3 in it right now, but most people are doing 1 or 2, and I think that's I think next time I'll set it at just 1 or 2. There's no reason to let people do 3. That's a little bit too much, I think.
Just cap it at 1. You get 1 shot at it.
1 shot at it. Okay, yeah. I mean, maybe next time I will do that. I don't know. For March Madness, I always let people do a couple brackets, and I thought with last year with the Bowl Mania pool, I only allowed people to do 1, and then this year I was, just winging it. And I was like, yeah, let them do 3, but then I realized when I was picking my picks, I'm just like, I don't know if I'm going to change them that much to where it's going to give me that much of an advantage to have a third one. But anyway, if you want to get into that, you can do that as well. You can see it on our Facebook group, the Bowl Mania pool. And we got Chopper sitting over there chilling with those humongous corded silver headphones. How you doing?
Can you hear me from all the way over here?
I can, yeah.
Nice.
One day we're going to be all spread out all over this studio. We have some nice couches set up and all that stuff. But right now we're still going old school, nice and tight with our table and the microphone's going. So
glad to be here today, and I love my new coaster.
Yeah, I got everyone some nice coasters with their favorite teams on them. So we'll have everyone else here newe week as well, and they're going to get to see theirs. So first question I wanted to ask today, and I think that I don't know, man. We were watching on Sunday. You watched all the conference games and so forth. Then on Sunday morning, at noon, they announced the 12-team playoff. And Chief, When you first saw the playoff announcement, what was your first reaction to what you saw?
Alabama's not in.
Yeah, I mean, that was the biggest controversy that was out there, right?
And honestly, the second thing is that the ACC got 2 schools. I was truly surprised by that.
Yeah, 11 and 12 seed is SMU and Clemson, and two schools from the ACC. That was surprising, but you had to have it happen. And
yeah, with Clemson winning. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
absolutely.
What was your first thoughts when you saw this?
I'm actually going to save mine for what the foo, because I was not excited about this at all. I'm not excited about any of these matches.
The SEC homer.
For real. I mean, what matchup are you excited about?
I mean, nobody expected what we see here at the beginning of the season. I don't think. Obviously, you thought Oregon would be in, you thought Georgia would be in, you thought Texas would be in. Maybe, most likely, Penn State, you would say. You knew they were going to be strong, but you also knew that Ohio State was supposed to be strong. You weren't sure what Michigan was going to do this year. And then Notre Dame was kind of like, they can always blow it halfway through the season, right? But then you got Tennessee. You knew they were going to be a strong SEC team. But Alabama not being in, a lot of people thought Ole Miss would be in as well.
Yeah, Alabama, Ole Miss, South Carolina. And I think they left Alabama out just so that Ole Miss and South Carolina didn't have anything to say. Couldn't say anything else.
And you were an Ole Miss fanboy all season.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I picked them for the national championship, and I think they could beat all those teams still.
And Mountain Man, when you were sitting there, you were probably halfway into about 3 bottles of bourbon by the time you heard about this at noon, right? You were doing the bourbon trail out in Kentucky this week.
Well, actually, we were on our way back on Sunday, driving through the Kirby Mountains of West Virginia when I was able to look at it. For one, I was extremely happy. Now, I do have a little bias because now that I live in the deep heart of the SEC country, I'm a little over it.
Are you becoming an SEC homer?
No, I'm actually becoming. I'm starting to become. You know how you have this friend who's a big fan of a certain team, and you kind of like that team, and they start annoying the crap out of you, and now you hate that team.
No, never happened.
Well, that's kind of how I don't hate the SEC. I say this every week. I respect the SEC, but I know the committee has talked out of both sides of their mouth about strength of schedule and opponents and quality wins. I get it, but they said early on that they're not going to punish a team for losing their conference championship.
They can't do that.
So SMU got in because of it. I don't want to hear it from Alabama. I don't want to hear it from Ole Miss. And, South Carolina legitimately is the only one that I will give a pass to, not because we live here, but because, the LSU game should have been a win. Okay, they got jobbed. But, and I had a post about this earlier, don't go for a punt on the first drive of the game in your own territory and then turn the ball over 2 straight times against Ole Miss and be down 17-0 before the band can get back to their seats from the opening ceremonies, okay? So I don't want to hear the SEC complain about it. 3 losses. In the long run of this playoff, I know the SEC's mad right now, but what the committee did was saying if you go to a conference championship, you're not going to get punished for losing, and that will benefit the SEC in the future. I promise you. That'll probably benefit them more than anybody else. This is an odd year for them. Usually, they're like the Big Ten is right now, where they've got 3 teams with 1 loss and 1 team undefeated. Well, that's not the case this year. They only have a log jam with 9-3 and all that kind of stuff. So I'm happy they didn't get in. Alabama can cry about it all they want. If you look at this, if you want to, when you look at the bracket, the bottom line is the committee did the SEC and Big Ten a favor. If you look at the seedings and how they're going to match up, they've all but assured that you're going to have a Big Ten SEC Final Four and probably either a Big Ten SEC championship or an all SEC championship. So stop crying because it's going to work out for you. That's all I'm going to say.
No, I agree with that. When I look at the actual matchups and the seedings, I see a Georgia. Texas rematch for the 3rd time, which nobody probably wants to see.
It's very possible. Right? The way they positioned Arizona State and Boise State in there, they gave Penn State a favorable home game. I like Tennessee. They're not going to Columbus and winning that game. I just don't think they can. There's Indiana, Notre Dame. Either one of them that wins, they're going to get clocked in the next round. It's just setting up for that.
It is. You got Oregon in there though. So
they're Big Ten. They're Big
Ten.
Right.
That's right. So somebody's got to beat Oregon though for it to be an all SEC affair.
Should we change the rules? Here's my proposed change. Instead of
we have a lot of power here, guys. On sports, by the way, so
lots of power.
We can make these rules change.
No, we can propose them. That's what I said. It's a proposal. Instead of it going to the conference champion for the Power 4, let them have guaranteed bye for the highest ranked team in each conference.
Say that again.
So instead of the conference champion. Mm-hmm. It's the highest ranked team in the conference.
gets the bye.
But isn't that generally the champion?
It
Yeah,
generally is, but not always.
Chief, the reason why they decided to do the 5 conference champions are the 5 highest ranked conference champions are guaranteed to get in, and 4 of those highest ranks will end up with a bye, or the winners would end up with a bye. The only reason why they did that is because they wanted to make sure that all of the conferences were in on this playoff thing, right?
Oh, I'm not disagreeing.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is instead of it being the conference champion, it's the highest in each of the Power 4 conferences plus the highest ranked group of 5.
Yeah, but what if one of the highest ranked group of 5 is a 34th ranked 3 and
somebody in the group of 5 is going to be in the top 20.
I agree with that.
Yeah, it's almost always the case.
Yeah.
But
And one more thing, if this is one of the topics, then cut me off. But I can't remember what I was going to say.
well, that's fine. You don't need to remember everything. I mean, sometimes people come here and they've already drank several drinks, okay? And that does happen to me sometimes, but usually later in the show
Yes,
is when I forget.
I know.
Whiskey fog right now.
No, I was looking at that bracket and I got sidetracked.
No, you're good.
No, the AD for Alabama making this comment about, this isn't good for scheduling. Well, when you're scheduling Mercer and Western Kentucky this year and USF, that you didn't lose to those teams. So it ain't like that the non-conference schedule screwed Alabama. Your conference schedule. That argument.
Yeah, that was the most ridiculous thing in the
Didn't
world.
Alabama play somebody up north?
They played Wisconsin. They played a
Wisconsin.
5-7 Wisconsin. I'll give them credit for
I
that.
think they played UConn this year too.
No, they played USF,
Okay.
Mercer, Wisconsin, and Western Kentucky.
Yeah, not exactly a gauntlet by any means.
No.
I mean, Florida had UCF, which turned out not to be that good this year. FSU, which turned out to be crap as well, and also Miami, and then we had Sanford, and that was it. Like that was the 4 out of conference games that we had. But you cannot. The thing is like you can't choose not to play your 8 conference games. And in some ways, like a team like Missouri should have freaking went undefeated in the SEC because they didn't play anyone this year, really. And they had one of the easiest schedules in the country. And they
Played the Gamecocks.
Yeah, and
almost won.
the Gamecocks ended up being way better than they were anticipated to be. But you can't just opt out of the SEC. And same with the Big Ten. You're going to have to play those 8 Big Ten games.
Right,
So.
and if we don't get the Clemson Georgia opening game, and historically Alabama has been like that team that opens up, in that kickoff classic. But I don't think the last couple of years they've done that. But if we lose those games, so what? We're getting the good stuff on the back end, the playoffs. I don't care if they get rid of those.
Here's another rule proposal. Power 4 schools must play one other Power 4 school out of conference.
No, that would be a great plan as well.
I could see that happening actually.
But then it could be you could say, okay, we're Alabama, we're going to play Purdue, but you don't know what Purdue's going to be next year as well.
That's my point.
It's hard to tell 3 years out when you make these plans,
Most
right?
teams do that one game.
Yeah, some do too, like West Virginia. But
it doesn't encourage you to do it with this new system if they're not going to take strength of schedule into place. But then again, if you're in the SEC, you already have a good strength of schedule, even if you do 4 weaklings outside of your normal schedule anyway.
Well, David,
same thing with the Big Ten. You're going to be playing some tough opponents, most likely.
Rebel says it every week. He has it right. I think they just find a way to do it. If they could, I know it's not the NFL, but if you can model it to where you mix the Power 4 up, and you have to schedule that one team as you suggested, but you got to do it based on who the record was. So like South Carolina would get the 5th best team in the Big 10 or the Big 12 or the ACC.
Now that I like.
The problem is you're going to have problems with South Carolina saying no, we already play Clemson every year. We're not doing that.
Of course, yeah, they already have a tough. And Florida plays FSU every year, and not
Georgia
that they've been
plays
that good
Georgia
lately.
Tech.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's going to be some hang-ups there, which is fine. That's fine too.
You already have some of these really tough out of conference opponents anyway. With a lot of teams, they do that. So I don't know. I mean, what we're looking at though is no one expected it to play out the way that it did. I think a lot of us thought there was maybe 4, maybe 5 SEC teams, and legitimately SEC bias is there. I've heard Pate say this before. That's like 59% of all of the 5-star players go to the SEC. I think it might be 60%, right? It's an enormous number of 5 stars and 4 stars go to the SEC. And that, it's probably more than that. Yeah, it's an enormous number, and so that SEC bias is there because they're just recruiting better. The Big Ten is the second best, and then obviously the Big 12 and the ACC come in 3rd and 4th. But that's a distant 3rd and 4th from what the SEC is. So there should be some bias there. You should have you should take into that schedule that strength of schedule. You're playing the best players in the country every single week when you're playing an SEC schedule. But you know what? There's got to be some fairness in there as well, I think, and I'm sure that's what the committee comes up with. That's why Alabama wasn't considered. I mean, they were considered, but that's why Carolina's not in there. That's why Ole Miss isn't in there, and that's why Alabama's not in there.
Each one of those 3 teams, Ole Miss, Alabama, and South Carolina, wins one of those games. They're in the playoff. Each one of them.
Yeah, just win the damn
Indiana's
game.
out. Notre Dame might be not Notre Dame might not be in there. SMU
Right.
wouldn't be in there.
SMU wouldn't.
I mean, again, Lane Kiffin's driving me nuts. The only people that have the gripe, in my opinion, and that's because of the way the game played out, it was kind of out of their hands at the end, was South Carolina.
Let's say there is a team that can decide that they're only going to play a bunch of pansies, right? And that's Notre Dame, because they could play whoever they want to. They're independent, right?
They could. I don't know how that money situation.
They probably have contracts in place with CBS that says, hey, by the way, no, you have to be scheduling at least 5 big-time games every season or 6 big-time games every season for big programs, because they're always scheduling USC. They do that all the time.
They play USC.
They play some big name.
Michigan State almost every year.
Yeah,
And they play 5 ACC games.
Yeah, because they have that.
The rest of Notre Dame outside of football is ACC,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a football agreement. They play 5 ACC games.
See, Notre Dame did that same stuff with the Big East back in the day. They kind of raped the Big East on that stuff. That's where Notre Dame's going to have to join a conference. They've got to strong arm them into a conference.
Yeah, I mean, but Notre Dame. Okay, so let's say technically they're a team that can say, you know, let's just schedule a bunch of pansy teams. We're going to schedule, Eastern Michigan. We're going to schedule Western Washington State and so forth, and that's going to be their entire schedule. And I saw somebody post this earlier on our Facebook group, and it said it showed like South Carolina's ideal schedule next year, and it was like a bunch of those teams like that. But no, first of all, you're not going to be able to recruit that way. Second of all, they're going to take that type of strength of schedule into play because you're going to have. I mean, Army is not in. Army's not in because they have a weak schedule. So you cannot schedule a bunch of weak teams. That is the proof that they're taking strength of schedule in some way.
I wish that strength of schedule and some of these other factors were more publicly known and they could be measured. So we could actually look at who's playing who and over the course of the season and go, well, their strength of schedule is a 16 and this school's is a 9. And
so who does that better than anybody right now? College basketball. They have the RPI. That tournament is made off the RPI, not the AP poll, and it's brilliant, and it always does level the playing field. College football will have to develop an RPI.
And actually, I was thinking for college football, something else is we need an NIT tournament for the next 12 teams. Like you're not
that would be
national championship, but like a tournament that matters.
Well,
yeah, there you go.
If they could turn all the bowl games into an NIT as well, because you have, I think it's 48 bowl games total, and 11 of those are going to be.
That's 96 out of
and have
130 schools.
Yeah.
Have a play-in with 24 and 25. So then you take the top 25, first 12 make the tournament, and the second 12 make the NIT.
Even though nobody
would be fun.
Yeah, even though nobody goes to them, and I don't know what the ratings are, the bowls generate a lot of money. But Dana Holgerson had an idea a few years ago when he was at West Virginia about about a playoff and getting rid of the bowl games. He said instead of having the bowl games, what your bowl game would be, for example, West Virginia's playing Memphis, that would be the first game of the season for West Virginia and Memphis next year.
Mm-hmm.
Florida would play Tulane next year in the opening game. Clemson's in the playoffs, so they're irrelevant. It doesn't matter to them.
And North Carolina would get UConn as their opening game.
Yeah. So, and sort of almost like you just determine that kind of maybe that would, carry the water for what we were talking about earlier about some ranking your schedule based on that one Power 4 or whatever. But I like that idea if they were getting rid of the bowl games. But it is kind of far-fetched. But
I don't think that, first of all, again, money, but also a lot of people have time off. You look at the days and times that these are scheduled, and who's not sitting around if you have the time off? Who's not sitting around? You go, game on.
And everybody wants to go to Florida in January, right?
Exactly.
Orlando, Tampa.
So West Virginia has Alabama on the schedule tentatively for 26 and 27. Not that West Virginia's a threat, but
could be.
They might be by then. They might get a good coach.
$5 says Alabama pulls out of that. West Virginia may actually pull out of it too, but I bet that goes away.
You think so?
Well, because Alabama's already made it clear we're going to play. You're already playing cupcakes, but that Wisconsin or that Louisville, whoever it is they scheduled, that's going away. They're going to play four extreme cupcakes now. I mean, West Virginia might be a cupcake, but
I don't know.
How come Alabama has all these FCS schools on their schedule?
I think it's all the circumstances around that particular season, right? So I think that could bite them down the road, not doing that and having some team get in because they did that.
Well, exactly.
It's all so.
I can see a team going, hey, guess what? We're going to do it the other way around. We're going to go schedule 2 big boys, and if we win one of those and we win all of our conference games, we got to strength of schedule. We're getting in the playoffs.
That is absolutely going to happen.
And I can see old Signetti at Indiana saying, let's do it.
Yes.
He's the kind of guy that would do something like that.
That's right. So I mean, it's all circumstantial around that particular season, in my opinion.
So I love all the thought that we put into this whole, the 12 teams playoffs so far. What y'all think about who should have been in and what we should do going forward. Question though, looking at the path to the championship game, who has the easiest path to the championship game? So I'm looking right here. First round, you're going to have these teams here playing. I'm showing up right now. You got Tennessee and Ohio State, Clemson playing Texas, Indiana playing Notre Dame, and you got SMU playing Penn State. Of those, and then you look at the next game that they're going to play, the winner of each of those. So the winner of Penn State and SMU is going to play Boise State. The winner of Indiana and Notre Dame is going to play Georgia. Obviously a tough opponent right there. Tennessee and Ohio State, the winner is going to play Oregon. And then you got Texas and Clemson. They're going to play, one of those is going to play Arizona State. Now, nobody wants to be in the bracket that's going to play Georgia or Oregon, obviously. So I think that you could just eliminate those. But, I mean, I think I'm looking at that. Tennessee has a pretty solid chance of – I mean, Tennessee or Penn State have a pretty solid chance to make it to at least the top four, right?
No, Penn State's – I mean, if we're just looking at the logo, right? That's SMU and Boise State. You would think that's Penn State got a clear-cut shot to the Final Four.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm looking at the first round, though, and what I'm seeing is 3 of the first round games, I'm pretty confident who's going to win.
Oh, absolutely.
And
yeah, you're not sure about Indiana.
Let me
and
reverse
Notre Dame.
that. One of the games, I'm confident who's going to win. The other 3 have potential to be upsets.
Okay, yeah, that's true. So SMU is definitely
Texas is going to win. There's no question in my mind. Texas is going to win. SMU could upset Penn State. Penn State has choked a lot.
Yes, I totally agree with that. Penn State does not exactly score very easily. Let's just say that. They have a great defense, but then again, we saw some weaknesses in their defense last week.
Wow, they put up 37 on Oregon, right?
They did, yeah, but that's unusual for them. It's not like they're scoring 37 points a game.
Yeah, right.
And Lashley is pissed about losing to Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see those. In fact, the whole team is probably pretty angry about it. I could see them coming out strong against Penn State to make their point.
I don't know if y'all saw today, but of all those games, I know you said earlier that you said, "Hey, none of those matchups are attractive to me." I think Tennessee Ohio State's probably the best.
I think that's going to be
that's
awesome.
the best game, yeah.
But Notre Dame, Indiana is going to be interesting. You got 2 Indiana schools.
That's where I was going with that. Pat McAfee put out a thing today. The highest scoring ticket right now is Indiana Notre Dame.
I mean, look at that. Yeah, everybody at Indiana is like, "Whoa, we get to see this matchup. Yep. Holy crap, we're going to that."
Well, think about this. The game's being played in South Bend. Mm-hmm. How far is Bloomington from South Bend? A couple hours, maybe.
I think so. Yeah.
It's, in other words, this is you could make it a one-day trip, no hotel needed. So the sad part is for this bowl, they're going to have a lot of fans showing up who aren't going to restaurants and hotels and spending 3 days in town.
And it's the only game played. The other 3 are played a different day than that one is.
But these are. I mean, obviously. These teams are playing in humongous stadiums, both of those teams. I mean, Indiana is not quite as big as Notre Dame, I don't think. No, yeah, but I think regionally that's a good thing for those cities because they might not be able to hold those small towns that those colleges are in. They might not be able to hold 90,000 people coming to state from all over the country.
You have to.
State College hosts games all season, and they have a huge fan base.
Okay,
so I'm sure they have plenty of hotels and restaurants. Austin, Texas, not a problem.
Yeah.
Columbus ain't a problem.
Yeah, Columbus is not going to be a problem.
But let's remember now, this ain't like the bowl game where everybody just goes to a nice warm climate and watch their team. If you're Tennessee, if you're Clemson, if you're Indiana, or if you're SMU, are your fans going to pay thousands of dollars 1 week, next week, the week after? There's 4 rounds of this thing.
There are, yeah.
So that's a lot of ask of some of these fans.
Where do you draw the line?
I know.
Especially you're like, are we going to go to the championship game? We're going to go to the first round game.
And they said the Big Ten championship, you could get a ticket for $5 because a lot of people were there, but I think they just walked in and bought the ticket.
Right. Well, that's kind of always been the case with the ACC game.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot different than the basketball championship where you go and you buy a ticket for a whole day and you're watching or a whole weekend sometimes and you're watching a ton of games, right? And you're gonna have the round of 64 plus the round of 32 all in one weekend, and then the next weekend you're gonna be watching the next round. So yeah.
So if we did the football NIT down in Florida, people would buy an all-day ticket, watch 3 games, as long as the weather's nice.
Wouldn't that be amazing? So you have one of the games in Tampa, one of the games in Orlando. You have one of the games somewhere. What's another stadium that's close by there? Maybe in Jacksonville. And you could buy a ticket for the whole weekend, and you could go see 2 or 3 games.
I think there's some legs to that
epic
idea.
Pass.
An epic pass.
Epic pass
for college football.
That's for all y'all non-skiers out there. That's a ski pass. Yeah. So I was looking at these, and I thought that the best game of those would be Indiana Notre Dame, only because you don't know what you're going to expect out of that game, right? That can be a shootout where it's like 55 to 52, or it can be way less than that. Who knows? It's hard to tell. And that's that one that's just like a toss-up.
Well, the weather. Outside of Austin, Texas, the other 3 places, the weather could get really nasty.
Yeah, Happy Valley is going to have a whiteout condition that day, and it might actually be a whiteout condition as well. You know, like you never know.
And by the way, their fans are pissed again because it's a noon start. They cannot get a primetime game for them at all.
I think it's. Oh, I don't know if you heard the rundown on the reason why that happened, but it's just the way that the contract ended up being with Fox. But that's neither here nor there.
Fix it.
It needs to be fixed for sure because there's no reason why the Big Ten cannot get a freaking 8 o'clock game.
Yeah, if Game Day can do a game day for a team that's playing at prime time, big noon on Fox can do the same thing.
Yeah. Okay. So Ohio State, Tennessee, you guys said that would be a prime time. To me, that's going to be a badass game to watch as well. I mean, Texas and Clemson, man.
I'm telling you, that's a toss-up to me. Texas does not look that good. I mean,
no, they're
shaky.
Yeah, but they're shaky in the SEC, and you start looking at who they've played and who they've looked strong against. Clemson lost to Louisville. Clemson got crushed by Georgia. Texas barely got beat by Georgia.
If Clemson keeps that game close, I would be nervous if I'm Texas.
Yeah, I can't even believe you're wearing that sweatshirt today, Chief.
Hey, I said I'm pulling for Clemson.
I mean, I think Clemson has it in them to make it to play against Arizona State. In all honesty, I mean Texas.
No, Texas puts them out of their misery quick.
You think so?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they held their own with Georgia twice, right?
I didn't see the first half, but what I saw in the second half looked to me like.
No,
I mean,
so we're gonna talk about that, but Georgia did look like shit the first half. Like Texas dominated the first half. On paper, they only scored 6 points, but Georgia was able to, when Texas got to the red zone, stop them every time and make them kick a field goal. In their field goal, the kicker missed 2 field goals in that game. Yep. So that's what screwed Texas big time.
Well, if he'd hit one of them, they would have won.
I mean,
because they wouldn't have gone to overtime.
Yeah,
right. I think Cade Klubnik, is that how you say his name?
Yeah, Cade Klubnik.
I think he's a better quarterback than either one of.
And he's playing in his hometown.
Yeah, I think he's a better quarterback than any one of Georgia's 2 that played Saturday. I think he's better than Beck, and I mean, that backup played well.
Yeah, Gunnar Stockton played well.
But he also, no film.
He was breaking ankles out there.
If you notice, yeah, but when they did rush him, they got it. But they laid back quite a bit. I mean, yeah, Texas is probably going to win, but I don't know, man. You never know. Not so fast, maybe.
Yeah, so, hey, let's talk about these 6 conference championship games that happened over the weekend then, shall we? We're going to look back a little bit for you folks. Okay, so Army beat Tulane. I mean, didn't make a case for them whatsoever to be in the top 12. A lot of people are like, "Oh, Army should totally be in now." I mean, obviously, there's people that are going to make that statement, but they were ranked 24 going in, and they did beat Tulane. They beat the pants off Tulane 35-14. But there's no place for them, and there was no place for them in the top 12. Was there, Chief?
No, there wasn't a place for them. You got to also think about. As much as they don't want to say it, College Football Playoff Committee is looking at more than just how many wins and that you're the conference champion. And Army is not going to drive a ton of fans. Army, none of their players are going to the NFL after college, or very few, almost none. So if you got to drop somebody and they're on the fence, you're gonna take the team that's gonna drive results for the bowl.
Yeah, but Army wasn't even on the fence. I mean, they probably ended up ranked 22 or 21 or 22 at the end of the season. So
exactly. So they weren't the best power. They weren't best group of 5.
Yeah, they definitely weren't, and only one of them was going to get in.
And they weren't in the top 12.
Yeah. And that's the only case to be made, is that they were not the best group of 5, and that was the commitment that the committee made when they came up with these rules, was the best group of 5 team will get in. If they're ranked number 30, they'll still be in. They'll just be ranked they'll be the 12th seed. But it happened that Boise State ends up being the 9th? Was the 9 seed?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or no, yes, they were.
They're a 3 seed.
Yeah, they were a 3 seed, but they ended up being ranked number 9, I think, overall.
Stupid rankings. I don't know why they do that. But
yeah, I mean, I don't think Boise State's really the 9th best team in the country, but they.
Well, again, the rankings with the bracket don't make sense. So just get rid of the rankings, get the bracket out there, and be done with it.
Yeah. Okay. Boise State beats UNLV 21-7, puts them into the playoffs. I mean, that game. You expected Boise State to win. I mean, I think we all went around the table and said that Boise State would win that game last week. But all it did was just solidify the fact that, yes, they are the 4th best conference champion, because you had the Big 12 champion that was, I think they were ranked 16th and 17th at the time when they played. So
I didn't get to see that game. I think it was on the television, but we weren't really paying attention.
Yeah, Ashton Genty
he went off,
did
didn't he?
220 yards rushing or something like that. Okay. Ridiculous night. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he's good, man. He's going to go to the NFL. He's already announced that he's going to. How far does he play into the playoffs after that? I wonder.
If
they win their first round of playoffs games, are they gonna? If they end up in the Final Four,
absolutely.
will he keep on playing?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And here's the next thing is, it's too bad that he didn't consider transfer portal, because he could have gone to play at a big SEC school or Big Ten school and made more money doing that than he will as a rookie in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And he was loyal. He stayed loyal to
How much money do you really need, though?
As much as they'll give me.
As much as they'll give you.
Yeah. As much as you're willing to be paid. As much as someone's willing to pay me, I'll take.
As Pat
Just so y'all know, if you want to send us $5 on Venmo, guys about sports, you can do that.
Or
you can send us $5 million. I don't care. Yeah. How much is too much? There's no such thing as too much.
As Pat McAfee said today about the Juan Soto contract, you're as worth as much as someone's willing to pay you.
Exactly.
And that's how much your worth is. So
yeah, and you're worth as much as someone's willing to pay you, and as much as you're willing to accept, right? Because some people might say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to take the high road and not take that much money." Are you?
No. Who's doing that?
Somebody might say that. There's probably somebody out there that will, but money does talk, right? And it's gonna. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
These kids are getting rich quicker than they ain't gonna take them 4 years to get rich anymore. They're getting rich year one of college.
Yeah.
It won't be long. We're gonna have NIL in high school. That's coming.
Oh yeah.
Ugh.
That's crazy. I mean, there probably is an NIL already in high school. I mean, I'm sure some of these guys make money off of TikTok already. That's technically NIL, right?
I know Florida. The parents have, these fake jobs, these no-show jobs.
Arizona State, man, beat the crap out of Iowa State. Iowa State was in it for the first quarter.
No, they weren't. They were.
All right, for the first 7 minutes. 7 minutes of the game.
I'll give you 7 minutes, but Arizona State, they have been the surprise team to me the last 4 or 5 games.
Yeah.
They have been off the chart, and this game just proved it. They beat the tar out of Iowa State.
Yeah.
This was a time where I was about 3 deep in the bourbon, and my son texted.
Were you cheering for Arizona State at that point?
Well, I didn't even care about it. I think I said last week.
Oh, baby, give me some more of that bourbon.
No, I just said, hey, Iowa State's going to. Last week I said they're going to blow them out. No big deal, right?
Yeah.
So my son texts me and says, Arizona State just wore out. I was shocked. I looked at
It was like 45-3 before Arizona State put their second string in, and that's how Iowa State scored.
Oh my God.
I was right there with you on Iowa State. Absolutely.
Very
I
shocked.
did not see this coming.
I thought Iowa State would perform a little bit better offensively, and they did not. I mean, Arizona State, not that they are a defensive dynamo by any means, but they did shut down Arizona State pretty well. Or excuse me, Iowa State pretty well.
I did see the hit that Rocco Beck took. He took a monster. The quarterback for Iowa State, he took a monster hit.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Props to Kyle Dillingham, right? Arizona State coach. Yep.
He's something. He's like a Signetti, Signetti type kind of guy.
Yeah.
Does he get poached this season then from to another team or what?
Well, no.
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. I mean, Arizona State is not. Where is that? That's right
Phoenix.
in Tempe, Arizona. Yeah. Okay.
Phoenix suburb.
Yeah,
He
Phoenix.
was at
So-
Auburn before Arizona State.
Yeah. So there's got to be money out there. I mean, it's a humongous school. There's like 75,000 students that go to that school. So there's got to be money out there.
There's a ton of money
Yeah.
out there. Scottsdale's out there.
But who the?
All the ex-Californians have moved there.
Excuse my expressive language here, but who the fuck wants to play football in Tempe, Arizona all frickin' summer long?
Have you been to that area?
It's frickin' hot. Yes, I've been there.
They don't play. They play in the fall when it cools down.
Yeah, and they play indoors. Not the games. But
No, they're practicing.
practice
I'm sure they're
facilities
practicing indoor.
Let me tell you, that's a fun town. There's a lot of 18-year-olds don't give a damn how hot it is.
Wait a minute. Do they play some of their games where the Phoenix Cardinals play?
No,
Not at all?
No, they play them all at the old Fiesta Bowl, the Sun Devils.
Yeah.
Sunday. That's right.
So snooze fest happened, man. The first half of the Georgia-Texas game, all defense, all defense, 6-3 at the end of the half. Texas did dominate Georgia overall on the amount of yards that for that half, right? Like I think they put up almost 400 yards of total offense for the game. 200 and something of that was going to be in the first half as well. They did a great job that first half, but they could not score. Georgia just was able to withstand Texas's offense once they got around that 20-30 yard line or so.
Yeah, red zone looked terrible for Texas.
Yeah, they need to figure something out if they're going to try to go further in this playoff.
Was it a Ewers problem or was it just an execution problem?
I think it was a Ewers problem.
Because I saw some articles that there's like, maybe let's go ahead and get Arch Manning ready. Just get him prepped and get him ready. And
yeah, so the thing about Ewers is sometimes he's just amazing, right? And then other times, if it's as soon as someone gets into this guy's head, it's over with for him.
They put Arch in for some downs.
Yeah.
And
He played,
and he didn't play all that great.
Well, I know when they played him in Texas earlier in the year, he looked terrible. I mean, again, you're talking about
He's their running guy.
Yeah.
You're talking about Georgia. I mean, they're a different breed on defense, but
Man, so Ewers did not play bad. It's just the red zone
That's
was
what I'm
the
saying.
place where they were not able to get into the end zone.
And that's probably more about Georgia's defense.
No, that's
than it
definitely
is about Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, how are you gonna? I mean, Quinn Ewers, he put up, I think it's 300 and something yards of passing. 300 something
really?
yards passing. Yeah.
I thought he had a great game.
Yeah, he had a great game.
Yeah.
They just couldn't score, And Georgia came out the second half, third quarter. They put up 10 points to Texas's 0. I think Texas had, they said it was 19 yards of offense total in the third quarter.
I do know the one touchdown that I remember Texas getting late, which I think it tied the game at 13 or something like that. That with the wide receiver, it was like a little short slant, like a 2-yard slant. That wide receiver made some plays and scored like a 30-yard, 35-yard touchdown.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
And he stands back in the pocket better than I don't know who does it better than him.
Yeah.
Honestly, watching Quinn Ewers back there, I was like, wow, he impressed me. He really did.
No, that game he played very well. That new quarterback after what's this? Carson Beck got
Gunnar
injured.
Stockton?
Yeah, Gunnar Stockton came in.
Look, he was exciting.
No, okay.
Oh, I thought he was very exciting.
I thought his composure was good enough.
Oh yeah, for his first time playing, I mean,
Under
it was
all
his
that
first
pressure?
time playing. Yeah,
And then he took that hit.
Yeah, he sealed the game.
I think what Gunnar Stockton did was put Texas in a position, a very challenging position of, holy shit, we're playing against somebody that we don't even know what he's going to do. The guy is a dual threat quarterback, although he only ran for 8 yards, so it's not like he was running like crazy. I mean, maybe he ran for 16, but he got sacked 3 times, so it kind of backed it up.
He had one run where he juked a guy horribly. I was like, wow. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
It was amazing.
You
I
know,
was like,
and
holy
Texas,
cow.
I get it. You don't have film on the guy, but when they did send full pressure, they took him down every time, and then they would get back on their heels and give just enough.
Yeah.
I don't know why Texas called the pressure off. I mean, stay on it. I mean,
Yeah, there was some interesting play calling. A buddy of mine is a Texas fan, he's like, man, that's some crappy play calling by Sarkisian. But
Yeah, and he was originally supposed to come to Carolina. Did you hear Shane Beamer say that?
oh really?
When Shane Beamer took the job, Gunnar Stockton was committed to Carolina, and he said he decommitted and went to Georgia like 4 days into when he got to Carolina.
He is a 5-star, so I mean, he should be on paper good, and I think he will be good. I don't think he had a lights out night by any means. I mean, if you look at his stats, but then again, it put something into the offense that Texas wasn't ready for. By the fourth quarter, Texas figured it out though, because they ended up winning that quarter 10-3.
Yep.
But that was too late. Ended up going into overtime.
he kind of, when you just watched him when he first came in, and he looked a lot like Stetson Bennett. They
Yeah,
gave me a
I
little
was
bit
going
of
to say that.
Stetson
Yeah,
Bennett
he kind of has that kind of swagger to
that
him.
like
too,
I'm good enough to beat you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
All right, Oregon beats Penn State 45-37. This was the most exciting game of the weekend.
It was.
Like it was. I mean, it was.
But still, when you watch the game, Penn State was overmatched.
Oh, they were.
They looked like clowns at time. The
Yeah.
one kid hurdled that defensive. I mean, it was.
So hold on. How many drinks were you in by the time this game came on? This was 8 o'clock at night,
I think
right?
I had a couple of old fashions by the time that.
Oh, just a few. Okay. Yeah.
No, I mean, just what I saw. Again, I'm not, full disclosure, I didn't watch enough I should be commenting. But from what I saw, by the time I fell asleep, Oregon was the superior team. They just were.
Oh, they definitely were.
Yeah, I did not pass out that night, by the way, but
Penn State kept roaring back, and I kept thinking they're going to pull it off.
Oh yeah. So mid-third quarter, Oregon definitely outmatched Penn State for the first half, and then for about the third quarter, I was like, man, Penn State might start to come back, and they did. They were within 7 points. Did they end up tying it up at some point? They did not. Okay, it was
Oregon got it was like 45 to. Like 45 to.
It was 45-37 at the end.
45 to 30 then. Or,
yeah. It just kept happening where it would be like 37. It was 37-30 at one point, and they said, or 37-20.
No, 37 to 30.
30 at one point, and I was like, oh man, this might happen, and it just kept happening where Penn State would score a touchdown, and then they would let Oregon score a touchdown.
Exactly. That's
and
what
it's
was
like
happening.
just because they were completely outmatched. Oregon is just such a good team on offense, man.
And that's what I read. Not that there was ever any question, but it was like Penn State just could not keep up.
Penn State overperformed on offense and underperformed on defense on what you would expect them to do, because they're normally a team that's not going to put up 37 points, but they're going to stop you and keep you from scoring more than 37 points, right? And that's not what happened this game. They ended up, allowing Oregon to keep on scoring, but I mean, how do you stop them, right? I mean, just such a good team.
Yeah, we'll see. They haven't played an SEC team yet.
Even the receivers that were going out for Oregon, like they were wide open half the time. Whenever there was a big play, like it was just Penn State was just sitting there like twiddling their thumbs out in the corner somewhere.
And once again, James Franklin cannot beat a top tier team. Can't do it.
Yep. Clemson beat SMU 34-31. That was a pretty fun game to watch as well.
The most exciting down for a last down.
Oh yeah, with 2 seconds left and they
Freshman,
So
set his personal best.
56-yarder. Now, SMU scored to tie the game with 16 seconds left.
Yeah.
And within 13 seconds, Clemson was kicked.
2 plays, they put themselves in field goal range.
That's.
And then it was a long goal field. I mean, it was a Hail Mary field goal. They knew they had one play.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't. It was just to keep it from going to overtime. It wasn't like they were going to lose.
That's true.
But
correct.
And
I mean, it's
Clemson had
impressive.
to-
Don't get me wrong. 56 yards is impressive, especially outdoors.
No, but that was good coaching. Look, if you miss it, we go to overtime. If you make it, we're done.
No, you kicked the field goal. Absolutely. I'm just saying, shame on SMU. You had 13 seconds. I mean, what was the kickoff? Did they kick it off out of the end zone, or did Clemson get any kind of return?
It was at the 25-yard line, I believe.
So they kicked it through the end zone.
Yeah.
Okay. I just there's too many. I mean, I don't know if it's the way they've changed the rules, but NFL and college, the game is never freaking over. With 15 seconds to go, somebody still has a chance to fill it. You see it every week.
I mean, as long as you have a
That's what
couple.
you want, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I do, and then I don't. I mean, if you're an SMU fan, you don't. I mean, I'd guess I do. I just.
If you have a couple of timeouts available to you, right?
Yeah.
And you have 16 seconds left, you should be able to score a few points.
Well, and the clock stops on a first down. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not saying anti-Clemson. I'm just saying,
No.
at SMU, how do you get? I mean, you had the game tied, and you let it go in 13 seconds. 13 seconds is all to it. That's crazy.
Yeah, but SMU had all of the momentum on their side in this game. Clemson went up 21-0 in like the first 7 minutes of the game.
21-7.
21-7 in the first
Yeah, very quick.
Yeah, very quickly. And SMU ended up just fighting their way back, ends up tying that game up. Like, they had the momentum on their side. They figured something out on offense. They didn't. What the problem was is they let Clemson score 21 points.
Does this remind you of Clemson Pitt?
Yeah, probably.
Clemson had several games this season where they got ahead, couple 2-3 touchdowns, and then
Let it get out of hand.
got out of hand.
Yeah, they had Pitt dead and let Pitt right back in it.
If Clemson doesn't get lucky and get 21 points in the first half or the first quarter on one of these games in the playoffs, they're not going to go too far then.
The only way Clemson can pull the upset is if they get everybody healthy. They got so many of their key players are either playing injured or not playing right now.
Yep. Heisman finalists, Ashton Genty, Travis Hunter, Cam Ward, Dylan Gabriel, exactly what you said last week.
How'd you know that?
I know, you're such a genius.
To be fair, I didn't say Cam Ward. Rebel said Cam Ward.
That's right.
That's right. Okay, so Rebel said Cam Ward, but you said he'll probably be there because there's Miami. That is exactly your words.
He deserves to be there. The guy. I looked up today just out of curiosity.
He's the number one quarterback in the country.
He's
for
the
QBR.
number one. Yeah, he's 4,000. I mean, he's had a good year, and he's playing the bowl game. He announced that today.
Yeah. So okay,
for him.
the most yards in the country was Kyle McCord, 4,326. And then he had 29 touchdowns, but he also had 12 interceptions. That kind of keeps his QBR low.
5 of
lower than it
those
should have
was
been.
against Pitt.
Yeah. So I think between those two, Kyle McCord and Cam Ward, I think they made the right choice with Cam Ward getting in over Kyle McCord. No one was saying Kyle McCord except for, this talking head right here, maybe some others or whatever. But
Rooster.
Rooster said that as well. Yeah.
All I'm going to say is I don't know enough. I mean, I know a few Ohio State fans, but you got to wish they had Will Howard, or they did not have Will Howard and they had Kyle McCord.
Who do you think wins this thing, though? Travis Hunter?
I think it's between Hunter and John T.
I would like to see Genty win it, but if Travis Hunter wins it, he deserves to win it.
Yeah.
Chopper, what do you think, man?
Who do I think is actually going to win it? Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter.
I think he takes it away. I think he takes more votes. And it may not be the most deserving, but they've been hyping him up all year, and I think he's going to get the votes.
He's doing amazing things. An amazing thing by playing on both sides of the ball. He's
absolutely.
out for 3 plays per game, maybe 4, but he's playing pretty much every snap.
Yeah.
He has 1,152 yards receiving. That's it. That's not lights out numbers right there, but it's pretty damn good.
That's pretty
right?
good for college, I think.
Yeah. I think he's in the top 10 for receiving. But it's still. It's not 2,000 yards. It's not 20. It's not something that you're gonna say, holy crap, that alone deserves to be the Heisman Trophy. That doesn't even alone. If he was only playing on that side of the ball, he would not be in New York right now.
No, that's right. No, he wouldn't be.
But he has 4 interceptions as a corner. That's pretty good for a season as well.
Yeah.
So he's really good at both of his positions, but he's not the best at either of those positions. But
if he can get 1,152 yards and then get 4 interceptions playing 115 snaps a game. That means something.
That's huge.
That's huge.
Absolutely.
They've never used snaps, but then again, you could change things up, right? I mean, I think that he's deserving. You could definitely make a strong case that Travis Hunter is the best player in the country overall.
In 1997, it was between Charles Woodson and Peyton Manning. Everyone thought Peyton Manning should win it, but Charles Woodson won. Why did he win? He played both sides of the ball and returned punts. That's why he won it.
That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
But Ashton Genty, man, this guy is 130 yards away from beating Barry Sanders' record. Now, somebody made the point, Barry only played 11 games that season. He played in 12 because he played in a bowl game, but they didn't count the bowl game back then for single season. But still, every single running back since Barry Sanders has had a chance to beat that record or get close to that record, and they have not, right? Mm-hmm. Every single one of those in the last 20 years has probably played in 12, 13 games and still not gotten to that point as well. Ashton Genty is a phenomenon that, I think that when you have somebody that's that good, I mean, he's the best player in college football this year, in my opinion, just because of the way that he put those yards up.
I still think so. The award shows, I think, happen Thursday or Friday this week, and that will tell the story. Mm-hmm. Because what they typically do is the guy that wins the Doak Walker and the Maxwell, when they take all those and they're in the Heisman Trophy, the other guy's going to win the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, you know who's got second place.
And I think Genty's going to walk out there carrying an armful of trophies, and he's not going to win Saturday night.
Yep.
That's what I feel.
I predict that too.
Yeah.
Yep.
What do you think, Chief?
I agree.
And at the end of the day, they're all great players.
Oh, yeah.
And they're all going to be playing in the NFL, and then we'll see then. Are you going to have the same offensive line? Are you going to have the same matchups that you have? Then the the truth comes out.
Yeah,
they're all great.
And someone like Ashton Genty, he's playing in a conference that's not quite the same as the SEC. Those guys don't have quite the hands that an SEC player has to grab a hold of them.
Right.
I don't want to hear that. I said this earlier this year.
Switch SEC with Big Ten. Same thing.
I don't want to hear that either. I don't want to hear. Here's the deal. He's doing it against the same level of competition, and he has the same type of lineman in front of him.
That's true. He has less quality linemen to protect him.
Does he though?
Well, if we're going to say,
there's not a single 5-star on that offensive line.
If we're going to make comments that he plays against lower level, he plays on a team that's considered lower.
No,
I mean, obviously he's got a good line, I'm sure.
Yeah, they're good. I'm just saying, and I'm not saying that. I'm talking about when they go to the NFL.
Oh no, that's
you kind of see a difference.
I'd love to know the weight of all players on the offensive line for Boise State and compare that to the offensive line for Alabama.
It just drives me nuts when people say that.
I'm not discrediting anything that he's done because he is a great player.
Yeah, no, he is, and he plays with the same level of players as the competition he's playing with.
So Chief, being an Air Force guy, Army Navy games this weekend, and I know you're unbiased.
I am unbiased, but I'll tell you, I think Army's going to win.
Why do you think that?
Well, so both Army and Navy both played Notre Dame.
Yep.
Army didn't look so bad. Navy got their butt whooped.
Yeah. So when you compare the two,
Navy's got another loss too. I'm trying to think of who their second loss is.
No, they have 3 losses.
3 losses. Yeah.
They lost to Tulane as well. They got destroyed by Tulane.
And Army beat the tar out of Tulane.
I think Navy lost to Rice also.
Yeah, they did lose to Rice.
Yeah. So Tulane blew out Navy.
Yeah. First of all, Navy still had a good season, and you got to remember these are the service academies, folks who as high school recruits think they have a shot to get to the NFL, do not pick to go to the academies. If football is your thing, you go to the SEC or the Big 10, Big 12, maybe the ACC. If serving your country is your thing and the way to get there is to play football, that's what you have a lot of folks on the field. They love their country. They love their service. But that's why they're there.
And those linemen, it's not like they're sitting there bulking up all year around to try to.
No, they can't.
They actually have to cut. Yeah, they have to cut weight.
They still have to meet
season,
height and weight standards for their branch of service.
Exactly. Yeah.
And Chief said it right. It's not a 4-year deal. It's a 9-year deal.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's your commitment.
Yep. Army rushed for 3,773 yards total this season. 661 attempts. So pretty much you're going to see.
Well, that quarterback for Army's pretty slick.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Good. Navy ran for 2,721 yards on 506 attempts. So I think overall, man.
What did Navy pass? Did they?
No, they're both.
I know they're both running.
I think so. The last game, I looked at both of these teams for the last game, and it was like 8 yards of passing total or something. It was ridiculous.
I just was wondering if Navy was passing more. Not that more is significant, but was Navy passing more? No. Clearly not.
No.
So I think it's going to the Army this year, and that's okay.
Oh yeah.
Until they let the Air Force play in the Army-Navy game, who cares?
We're not going. We don't. I guess we could go around the Air Force and the Army Navy game.
You do. You can do the flyover.
Yeah. Well, they could do the Air
There?
Force. Yeah, you
Yeah.
guys have an Air Force Navy game, don't
on.
you?
Yeah, we play.
Yeah.
And Air Force is pretty legit. Like they're
Not this
Not
year.
this year.
They were not. Navy
Last
and Army
year-
smoked them both.
No, I'm saying they're legitimately bad.
So
Yes.
they this year they were. Last year Air Force was pretty good, but
Air
they
Force
had
wins the Commander in Chief Cup most.
most of the time.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the way that works is Air Force plays Army, Air Force plays Navy, Army plays Navy. Whoever wins the most of the intra-service games wins the Commander's
And
Cup.
if they all beat each other, whoever won it the previous year retains it.
Oh, really? Okay. Interesting. I
Which
didn't know
happened
that.
2 years ago. Army beat Air Force beat Navy beat Army. So it went back to the Air Force.
Yeah. So who do you think is going to win this, Chopper? Come on in and talk to me, man.
I'm an Army guy all the way.
All right. That's right. You grew up as an Army brat. I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
Hooah.
Yep. And you are in the Army.
I was in the Air Force.
You were in the Air Force.
Retired Air Force.
How do I not know this about you, man?
I don't know.
I thought you were
Okay.
Army
we
all
actually
day.
served with
Yeah,
some of
because
the
you
same
work on
people.
Fort Jackson, don't you?
That's because that's my civilian job.
Oh, okay. Duh. Okay.
I joined the dark side on the civilian side.
Oh, okay. You traitor.
But my
You're a
whole-
traitor to your
football?
No, my-
traitor
Better football?
to your
Yeah.
branch of the military.
My whole family is Army. They were quite pissed when I joined the Air Force. A lot of them did. But no, Army.
Your son's in the Air
My
Force.
son's in the Air Force as well. Yeah, but my uncles and grandfathers, they were all Army. World War
Oh.
II, Korean War.
Well, and
Amazing.
Yeah, but World War II, the Army or the Air Force was part of the Army.
Well, they were carrying rifles. They weren't flying planes, so they were Army. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go with Army. But this game is going to be like 19-16. It's going to be at Landover. It's going to be probably a little snowy, maybe a little rainy. I know Army's better, but this game's always super, super close.
Interesting.
They both run the same offense, so they know what's coming.
Yeah. I am going to say, I think Army wins that game too. I mean, you just look at the stats overall. Army's just, they're dominating the teams that they play. The only team that they've lost to is Notre Dame. They still scored 14 against Notre Dame, which isn't great. Notre Dame blew them out, but then again, you expect Notre Dame to blow them out, right?
I'm going to put this out there, too, for anybody who wants to bet. There will be a passing touchdown in this game. Mark it down.
Ooh.
From
which team?
I'll buy you a beer if it's.
I don't know which team, but there will be a passing touchdown.
I'll buy you a beer on that. I don't think there will be. So, in my opinion. Okay, moving on. So,
Free beer.
free beer. Yeah. Carolina versus. Let's talk about some of these bowl games, shall we? Because I was looking at them, and I'm not.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not really that excited. I'm excited about the first 12 team playoff. I think that's phenomenal. It's been something I've been looking forward to since they announced it 2 or 3 years ago. But I'm looking at these other games: Carolina versus Illinois.
Well, at least it's a 15 school versus a
the
20 school.
It's at the Citrus Bowl in Orlando, and yeah, ranked number 20. So this is a good matchup, I guess. But I don't know. I'm not excited about Carolina playing Illinois. Like it doesn't seem like a.
Illinois,
It doesn't seem like a matchup against I think that Carolina blows these guys out,
I
man.
think Illinois is
no.
better than you think they are.
Yeah, and Illinois is a spoiler in the Big
You
Ten.
got the coach from who's their old, the old Wisconsin guy, right?
Yeah, Mr. Saturday Night.
What is his name?
I can't. We'll have to be able to look in the back of this, but so you think that there's a Carolina, because Carolina's going to have most of their players playing. You might not have Rocket Sanders playing because he's going to be going to the NFL. That's a possibility.
That
right?
matters.
Illinois is going to be a hard-nosed team. Yeah, they'll play Carolina tough.
The one
Absolutely.
advantage is that if those guys in Illinois don't get to spend a whole week down there and it's 75 degrees, that's going to be challenging for guys coming out of 30 degrees.
I think that historically, SEC teams have not played that well in bowl games as it is. Like we do these counts every year, and it'll be like there's 8 or there's 9 teams in the SEC that are in bowl games, and like 3 of them won. And it's because
Everybody stays home.
they all stay home. Yeah. So do you think that this is going to be a similar case with a lot of these bowl games this year for Carolina, or for Carolina specifically, but for any of the other wins as well?
Specifically for South Carolina, I think they play and they play hard, and the reason is they want to prove a point. We can beat a Big Ten team.
And they're young players. They're out for blood. I think that they have a really young team.
They need to win this game.
Right.
Why?
This matters for
Because
recruiting.
all the recruiting, all the bitching and complaining.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, Alabama needs to come out and smoke Michigan. And I don't want to
Yeah,
get
they
ahead of you.
need to.
Those 3 SEC schools that are complaining right now, they need to come out there and need to lay the wood.
Yep.
And they're doing it against Big Ten.
Lay the wood.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I mean,
absolutely.
I actually might put
Absolutely.
that as one of my little things
And
here.
historically, over the past few years, the Big Ten's been getting the SEC in these bowl games.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
SEC's been kind of laying down like, oh, they left me out.
It's
of
a
this,
bowl
left me
game,
out of the
yeah.
Bowl
Who
game. I'm
cares?
not going to play in it. Who cares?
Not the
The Big
BCS
Big Ten's been winning these games.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Illinois, I think Chief said it. I think he said it. Illinois ain't setting anybody either. So you're going to get the best of these two teams. And you're going to have a layoff, and that usually messes up these bowl games too. Both teams are going to have a little bit of a layoff. So we'll see. But I do like South Carolina.
That'd be a good matchup.
I think it's a fun matchup. I'm looking forward to that game. I'm actually looking forward to that game. I think
and it's a Cheez-It Bowl. I mean, Cheez-Its. Who doesn't like Cheez-Its?
What have they done to our
I love Cheez-Its.
Yeah.
We actually have a box of Cheez-Its in the kitchen over there.
Ooh,
What have they done to our precious bowl games? That was the Florida Citrus Bowl forever.
It's still the Citrus Bowl.
But it's not.
Oh no! It's
remember the Cotton
Cheez-Its.
Bowl,
It's a
the
Cheez-Its
Sugar
Citrus
Bowl.
Well, I mean, it's everything has to be sponsored, and I mean,
No, but what the hell does Cheez-It and Citrus have to do with each other?
The Sun Bowl, who's sponsoring that this year? That's a rotating. I mean, my point
Tony
is.
the Tiger, the Kellogg.
I mean, Florida Orange Juice should definitely sponsor, or Dole or something should sponsor.
It was always
the Citrus Bowl.
Florida Citrus. That was the company.
Yeah, Florida Citrus Company. Yep. All right, so another game I'm not that excited about, but it's my team. The Florida Gators are playing Tulane. Tulane's a good team though, and I think that it could end up being a good matchup. Florida has such a. You don't think so? Okay, tell me more.
I think that you should be. I'm sorry. I think you should be excited about this game because I think Florida's going to whip them, and I think this is Florida making a point.
Good.
I think this is Florida making a point, especially going back to when Cam Moore was walking off the field back in August or September, telling those recruits, "Don't go here, don't go here." Well, Florida's going to get the last laugh in this deal, and being in Tampa, 2.5-3 hours down the road from Gainesville. They'll have some crowd there, you know. I
mean, all the recruits are gonna have a freaking great time playing.
Absolutely.
Great
in
point
that
going back
stadium.
to Miami.
Yeah, remember that? That was embarrassing.
Yeah.
And Florida has
Absolutely.
done nothing but improve since fourth or fifth game this season.
Absolutely.
I mean, they have been better and better. And this is going to be the SEC showing the Big 12 what's what.
Well, AAC.
Oh, AAC. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
AAC.
I mean,
what's what.
If I'm the SEC commissioner, I'm having a meeting saying, go into these bowl games, and I want you to put 70 points on these teams.
And that's what's going to happen, too.
We are pissed off.
I think you're going to be enjoying watching your homers play.
I think so.
And Florida's, like Carolina, Florida's a young team as well. They have a lot of freshman talent out there. The quarterback's a freshman.
Quarterback's
as well.
awesome.
Extra practice. They're getting extra practice.
Yeah.
Auburn ain't getting this practice. Auburn can't practice now. They're not going to a bowl game.
Yep.
We can still practice without going to a bowl game.
No, I don't think so. I think once you're done, you're done. So, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure maybe they are practicing. But these extra practices that mean something, it's always good, too.
Yep. Oklahoma is playing Navy. Now, of the games that I listed here, that's the second best matchup in my opinion. And the reason why I say that is because Oklahoma has a hard time stopping the run, and that's all that Navy has is the run, right? Now they have some big guys probably that are going to be much bigger than the Navy players and so forth. Oklahoma will probably win this game, but I don't know, man.
If the Oklahoma team that beat Alabama shows up,
but that's not going to happen. That's almost no. Come on,
my
man.
question is,
that was an anomaly.
So you want to talk about how you're not excited about the Gasparilla Bowl?
Yeah.
You think Oklahoma Nation is excited about going to that bowl game?
I think that Oklahoma Nation is probably just happy that they're in a bowl this year because they were playing like shit.
Well, their quarterback's already decided to hit the transfer portal.
Yeah, I saw that today. Yep.
So, I mean, it should be a good game, but it might not be Oklahoma's finest out there playing.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Speaking of transfer portal, Wisconsin's QB hit the button today.
Yeah, I saw that. There've been a lot of guys hitting the button today.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw a list of some not major program quarterbacks that were going to be leaving there. But I mean, who knows? For a lot of the players, I haven't seen any like humongous names get thrown in the portal yet. But I mean, those will be announced soon as well. There's one for the Gators
for 20 days.
Yeah, I think it's the
20
9th.
or 15. I thought they short. Oh, it used to be 30. Now it's 20.
Yeah.
I think it's the 4th through the 24th or something like that.
I just know West Virginia plays on the 17th, and they said they have 10 days after that for the transfer portal. That's why most of the guys are going to play.
Okay, gotcha. Okay,
That'd be the 27th.
So next game we had was Georgia. This is the one that I think is going to be the best game to watch from a even matchup standpoint. That's going to be Georgia Tech and Vanderbilt. Come on, guys. Those are two teams.
I like that.
No, I agree.
What is that?
They could not have come up with a better matchup than those two teams, which usually suck. And now they're both teams.
Those might be the most
both of them
exciting teams at the end.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Barring South Carolina.
You're talking about gritty quarterbacks. Those two has two.
Oh yeah.
Well, and Georgia Tech. I mean, how many overtimes did they go to? 8 overtimes.
Georgia, yeah, ridiculous.
So they got something to prove. And Vandy beat Alabama.
And they haven't been in a bowl game in probably 10 years.
Don't forget, this is about who can outsmart who. Right?
It's
It
good.
absolutely
It's a
is.
good
Totally
point.
about
the
that.
IQs on these two
Right?
teams
It's
are probably
also-
off the chart.
Yep, it's
Yeah.
SEC versus ACC. There's a lot of that there. You know.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yep.
yeah.
And
No,
then-
that's now I'm excited. I was not excited until I learned about that matchup.
No,
right
I'm
now.
excited to watch that game. Like
What
I'm
bowl
not
game is that?
I can't remember the name of the bowl game, but I'm excited about that game. I was sitting there and I was like, holy crap, Georgia Tech and Vanderbilt are playing. Those are two teams that have pretty good leadership on the quarterback side, right? The coaches are just like ecstatic to be playing in a bowl game, I'm sure. And both coaches are on the up and up. Like these are coaches that probably in 2 or 3 seasons they keep on this trajectory are going to be poached some.
I might even go to that game.
It's the Birmingham Bowl.
The Birmingham Bowl. Ooh, that'd be fun. What day is that? On the 20th?
It is on the 27th on a Friday.
Legion Field.
At Legion Field at 3:30.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, and both of those teams are going to be playing
Been
pretty
there.
damn close to home then too.
By the way, just spending out the Friday the 27th is a great day to sit by the fire and just watch football all day long. There's like 6 bowl games on that.
Nice.
Yeah,
I
from
see
noon,
Syracuse
from
is
noon to
playing.
11:30. Yep. Yeah, real quick, the rundown is the Armed Forces Bowl, Navy, Oklahoma, Birmingham Bowl, Georgia Tech, Vanderbilt, Liberty Bowl. This is a good one, I think. Texas Tech, Arkansas. I think. Holiday Bowl, Syracuse, Washington State, Las Vegas Bowl, Texas A&M, USC.
I mean, Syracuse, Washington State could be
I
a good
think
game
Texas
as well.
A&M USC is going to be a good game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you got two teams there. That's Texas A&M had their record didn't show up. They had a good year.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a good team.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for
They can
sure.
beat anybody.
So you said it earlier, Alabama and Michigan. Alabama needs to just destroy Michigan, and
They have to.
Yeah, that game's
They
gonna be
have to.
ugly.
They cannot go down there and lay an egg.
No.
If they do,
Even the coach could be not hot seat like get fired right away. It's only his first year, but there's the water's going to start to heat up.
You know,
if Coach DeBoer, if they don't win, it's a problem. But their fan base wants them to win and win big.
is this the two teams that played in the semifinals last year?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So of the playoffs, yeah, that's right. So
Nick Saban's last game.
yeah, Nick Saban's last game. Alabama's going to go in there and just crush Michigan. You guys think?
Yeah, it's an 11.5 point spread.
So last year, Florida State got left out. Half the country thought they got screwed. Half thought that they deserved it because of what happened to the quarterback. They go into the bowl game. Georgia beats them by 60. And everyone, as stupid as everyone is, said, see, Florida State didn't deserve to be there. Even though
But
they
nobody in the
I know, but my point is, Alabama, if they have 20, 30 guys set out and they lose to Michigan, most people are going to say, see, you didn't deserve to be there. It's just how people.
And that won't happen with Alabama.
No, I don't. I hope not.
I don't know, man. I don't think that Alabama has. I don't personally think that Alabama has the same culture going on that you had right now
That's
under Nick
true.
Saban. Like I think that there's a little, and I said this early in the season. I think that there's a little bit of discipline issue going on over there. They're making mistakes that they shouldn't be making. Nick Saban wouldn't have that. Not that they. They dominated with Nick Saban. There was seasons that they did not dominate everything, and they didn't win the national championship. Obviously,
How does the NIL play into discipline issues? In addition to the coach, right? To NIL, so I don't care what you say. I'm making this money.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Well,
go,
not
right?
just
And Nick Saban didn't have to deal with that.
no,
Yeah.
I know, yeah, for sure.
and not just the players, the folks who are paying that money may be like, stop bugging my boy.
That's right. That's right. Leave him alone. He'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah, Nick Saban never lost to Vanderbilt in a bad Oklahoma team. He lost to like LSU every 2 or 3 years, Auburn every couple of years. I mean, he didn't lose games like
You're right.
this.
What about there's another Big Ten SEC matchup, Iowa, Missouri.
Let's go. Relentless effort for 60 minutes. Dominate on 3.
Oh, shit.
1, 2, 3.
Sorry about that.
It's like, what's
just
going
happened?
on?
So my
The
board
folks-
just went crazy, man.
Our producer just screwed up.
Our producer just screwed up. Yeah,
Fat fingered a button there, I think.
I did.
But yeah, Iowa and Missouri, we got, and Iowa's 8-4. Missouri, what's Missouri? They're 9-3.
No, they're also a 9-3 team.
Yeah. So, but the big deal to me again is this is SEC Big Ten. So this is another. Missouri's got to go in there and win big. They got to the SEC. I think you're right. The commissioner probably said, "You got to win big. All y'all got to win big."
Yeah, but I'm sure the commissioner said that last year as well, and the year before that, and the year before that.
His teams didn't get. He didn't get left out. I mean,
It
Georgia
didn't-
got kind of left out last year a little bit, but
Nah, I mean, and Alabama felt like they got left out the year before that as well. Remember
Right,
Nick
right,
Saban on TV, like, oh, we should have told them.
yeah,
to
but who
blah,
won the
blah,
national
blah.
championship? I mean, Georgia won.
Georgia won that year, yeah.
Yeah, Alabama had a chance to win.
But we're talking about 4 teams in past years. We're talking about NIL not being as prevalent. We're talking about portal not being as prevalent. This year's we got 12 teams in the playoff. It's a whole different world. NIL is definitely having an impact. Portal is definitely having an impact. And for the this playoff structure is only guaranteed this year and next year. And so the SEC wants to have power in terms of negotiating what the next contract looks like. They got to win big.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do. They're going to put on a PowerPoint slide. Look what we did the last years in bowl games. We dominated. You left us out. Remember, you left us out. They're going to say that crap over and over and over.
And, the Big Ten commissioner's probably saying the same thing. You got to go in there and win these games.
Well, and the playoff committee is praying that SMU does not lay an egg.
Oh, yeah.
And Indiana does not lay an egg. They need those games to be great games. Because if not, that'll be another bullet on the PowerPoint that they sink in the SEC presents, 2 years from now.
Who was that, Tulane? You're talking about? Wasn't it Tulane that got blown out in the playoffs? Who was it that got blown out in the playoffs?
No, it was Cincinnati got blown out.
Cincinnati.
Well, so, yeah, they've been a lot of teams get blown out. Clemson got blown out. LSU got blown out. Oklahoma gotten blown out.
Yeah.
TCU got blown out.
Yeah, but it was Cincy that.
Cincy lost by like 20 points.
TCU won the semifinal,
They
but
beat Michigan.
got destroyed in the final.
Yeah.
So they deserved to be there, I thought.
Yeah.
But then but Cincinnati, when they made that decision to put Cincinnati in, I was like, what?
They only lost 27-6 though. It wasn't like they got smoked. I mean, there was one year Alabama or Notre Dame lost by 34, I think, to Clemson in the final. I mean,
Yeah,
so
but
if
that
you
was
look at
2012 or something like that.
Yeah,
it was,
so that argument kind of to me doesn't hold water because a lot of teams got smoked in the playoffs.
Yep. So
anyway, I'm back to if they make me king for a day, we go to a 2014 playoff. More bowl games matter.
2014 playoff. It goes on from like early November straight.
No.
Yeah.
Look at all these bowl games that are on the schedule. All you do is you take it's 12, then it's 6. Because with
You
the
have to have
14,
buys.
you got to have the buys. But anyway, my point is you get more teams in. It's more exciting. You don't have games that you go, what games do I not care about? And have the list be very long. You said 48 bowl games?
Yeah, but I mean, there's honestly, I don't know if you guys did the pool last year, but like that shit made it exciting to watch every single game. I'm sitting there watching like Western Kentucky play, Liberty or something, and I'm just like, whoa, this is a great game. To me, it was fun to watch them.
Liberty wasn't even what?
No, I'm just saying. I was just saying two lower level teams, right? Like,
I don't want to go much more than 16 teams because you're going to dilute. I mean, we're sitting here having a good time laughing over who got the 12th spot. We thought it was stupid to argue who got the 4th spot.
Well, we're arguing a lot more this year than we were last year.
Well, because Alabama's a big brand and they're the ones that got
Honestly,
screwed.
though, I don't think that ever ends. Regardless of
No matter
other
what,
teams,
you'll
you're
have-
going to argue who got left out.
Yeah, you'll have if you had 64 teams in the playoff.
It'd be like, I was number 65. I'm
Well,
better
yeah.
than number 62. I beat them.
Yeah, it happens
Let
in
me
college
in.
basketball.
Let me in.
Maybe we have to have a play-in. We'll do 16,
Yeah.
but we'll do the first 2 games. So it's really 18. 18 because we have 2 play-in games for the lowest ranked teams.
Or just crown the SEC champion, national champion at the same time.
Then we
Be
could
done
do
with it.
that. I know
Easy
the
enough,
Big Ten might have something to say
I
about
know.
that.
Yeah,
Then
I'm
December is the
kidding.
most
I'm kidding.
boring month for college football ever.
You can't go more than 16 because there's only 16 teams in the SEC.
Yep. All right, so let's go ahead and
Not
wrap
mama.
up this show. We've been going for a little over an hour now, and I got one more thing to say to y'all, and that is, what the fuck, dude? What the fuck? Chopper, hit me, dude.
Yeah,
what the
mine
fuck?
was the matchups, but
Tell me
now, I wasn't excited about the matchups when I saw them. I am only excited right now about the Georgia Tech Vanderbilt game.
Really?
Yeah.
What the fuck,
That's
man?
amazing, man. What the fuck? Why am I excited about that game? What the
Because
fuck?
it just sounds like an awesome game to watch.
Sounds
dude.
awesome, and I never would have thought those words would come out of my mouth. So what the fuck?
If my son goes to Georgia Tech, I'll be a Georgia Tech fan for a while because they're gonna get a lot of my freaking
Hell
money.
of, hell of an engineer, right?
You'll have to get a sweatshirt.
Yeah. When the school starts taking your money, you're leaving.
Oh, you become
Oh,
a
yeah.
big fan. With
Dude, I'm gonna have the damn sneakers for Georgia Tech if I'm paying that much money to go to that school. Let's just say that I'll have a hat, sneakers. I might even have the underwear.
white
Little
car
bum-
with
little
gold
bumblebee-
trim.
Your little bumblebee shoes. They'll look nice.
Oh yeah, for sure. It'll look great. So anyway, what the fuck, Chief? You got what the fuck for me?
Yeah. North Carolina, ACC school, 6-6. Not that great. Coach is a lame duck. And they're going to play UConn. I'm like,
Yeah, UConn was 7-5 or something at the end of the season. I mean, it was the best season they've had in years.
UConn could probably beat North Carolina because I bet you there's a lot of lame ducks on that team who are like, yeah, why do I want to go way up north where it's played in Boston or something?
Oh, is it?
It's somewhere way north.
They're playing in Fenway Stadium, probably.
Yeah. It's the Fenway
Let's just
Bowl.
say every single player on the UConn team is going to play in that game, and some of the players for North Carolina probably hit the transfer portal already. So
Well, they could be auditioning for Bill Belichick.
yeah,
There seems to be some steam behind that.
there's no steam behind that, man. I mean, I haven't watched the news on that in a couple of days, but
well, McAfee has him on every Monday.
Okay.
And you know how Bill Belichick is. He's really coy when there's something he don't want to talk about, and he kind of wanted to dodge that a little bit.
He's coy all the time.
But he did say that it was a 5-hour interview that they.
Wow.
Yeah,
An interview.
Is he gonna?
I thought he was just going down there as a consultant. Like,
is he gonna bring his girlfriend?
Well, she's probably a sophomore at North Carolina.
I think.
Yeah, that's why he's trying to go coach there. I bet. Man. All right, so hey.
Oh, and it's an 11 a.m. kickoff.
Oh, that's
so
exciting.
11 a.m. in Boston,
guys,
on Saturday the 28th.
I've said this to a few other people.
That's my what the fuck.
These bowl games are important because remember the dark days in April, May, June, July. We have no football, so I'll watch a North Carolina UConn game in football because I won't have any football here in about a month and a half, and it sucks not having football.
I'll watch Central Michigan against West Kentucky. Like, I don't care.
Because in May and July, if you really love football, you're going to say I would take a UConn North Carolina game right now if it means I can watch some football.
I agree.
Right? That's a
great point.
I like college basketball too, but I love football.
Yeah. So we're going to start dropping in a little bit of college basketball into the show for our listeners since we are starting to get into that season where I think is it late December, early January as we start getting the conference play?
It's already started for some of the conference.
Oh, it has.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's where it gets interesting. Florida's actually looking pretty good. Number 9 in the country right now.
Clemson's looking good.
Clemson's looking good. Auburn is number 2 in the country right now. So, I mean, there's a lot to talk about with college basketball as well.
Beat North Carolina.
West Virginia,
North
where are they at?
Carolina's in the top 25.
So I just found my what the fuck.
What the fuck? Give it
How
to
do
me.
you gloss over West Virginia here? Are you kidding me?
I haven't looked that deeply into these stats.
We just beat Georgetown. We went to the Bahamas and beat Gonzaga.
Oh, crap.
Okay. Beat Arizona.
Whoa.
We lost the in-between game to Louisville. All 3 games went to overtime. We
Wow.
are on a roll. This new coach out of Drake, he coached at Drake, had Drake in the NCAA tournament the last couple of years. Darren DeVries, great coach, good hire by the AD. I got faith in the AD. He's going to get a good hire for the football team too. We'll see. But anyway, West Virginia's for real, baby. We're coming, Big 12. You better watch out, Kansas.
All right, stay tuned for Guys About Sports, talking about some basketball in the coming weeks. We are going straight through December this year. Usually we stop for a couple weeks, but I am going to Nashville for 5 days during Christmas, but I planned it accordingly to where I can still do the show on Monday, the Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. We can still do the show. So we're going to keep on going, and we're not going to stop this thing because that's when I start getting lazy. That's when I stop doing the show. So anyway, what do you got to say?
One last shout out to the Marshall Thundering Herd for winning the Sun Belt Championship this weekend.
Go Marshall.
Go Herd.
Go Herd. Isn't your friend Tracy Fox or something like that? Tabitha Fox? Is that her name? Okay.
Yeah, that's her name. She's a Marshall graduate.
Somehow I know your friend through the Facebook group. So anyway.
Well, but she donates money and she comments and she's in a bowl mania, so she likes it. So
all right, go Herd. All right, hey, thank you all for listening to Guys Talking Sports every week. Thank you for coming out to keep on listening to more Guys at the Bar Talking
Sports.
See y'all.